Hey everyone, my name is Spin and today we're going to talk about how to clutch. So in Valorant, clutching often involves defending a planted bomb or defusing a planted bomb. In order to clutch properly, you have to know what the default moves are in any given situation. Hey, I'm not going to waste your time with a long intro. I'm just going to say if you like this, please subscribe. So when you're clutching as an attacker, you want to make sure that you or your teammates plant for a specific angle that gives you the most advantage. Alright, so let's say you're planting the bomb at C site on Haven. Well, when you plant here, you're going to want to plant for a specific angle. Right here, I'm planning for C long. So if I'm in a 1v3 situation, I might try to come down here at C long, make sure I pick a fight here if I have to, and then wait for the defuse. And then once I hear the defuse, I can easily peek out here, kill somebody who's defusing, or if they're not defusing, easily just hide back here again. I can even pre-fire really quickly just to get somebody off the defuse too, like this. Just like that, just some shots down range to get them off the bomb and secure the win. So when you're clutching as an attacker, you want to make sure that you or your teammates plants for a specific angle that gives you the most advantage. It kind of depends on your rank, but often opponents will fake a defuse in order to lure you out of your hiding spot. Let's say you're attacking, you have the bomb down, but you're in a 1v3 situation. If your opponent starts to defuse, personally, I would peek out relatively soon because what's likely happening is one person is sticking it while the other two cover that defuse. But if you're in a 1v1 or a 1v2, I'd consider playing a little bit more passively when you hear the defuse. In lower ranks, I saw a lot of players freeze up and forget to use their abilities once the bomb goes down. In reality, if you feel relatively safe, you gotta get your abilities down in order to get the advantage over your opponents. Again, if you're in a 1v2 or a 1v3, you have to use all of your abilities if you want to stack the odds against your opponents, because as it stands right now, the odds are stacked against you. Another thing is that when I'm in a 1v2 or a 1v3, I'll often try to push one of the opponents, usually the first one that makes himself known, in order to get that fight down to a 1v2 or a 1v1. It's a slightly risky move because you could just lose that initial fight and give the opponents the round. But again, when you're in a 1v3, it's already a risky situation, so I just like to double down and go for it. A quick note, it takes 4 seconds to plant the bomb. So if you start to plant the bomb after the 4-second marker has passed, you do not have enough time and you need to clutch up and go for that kill immediately if you want to win the round. Clutching as a defender usually revolves around one thing: defusing. When the bomb is down and it's a 1v3 or a 1v2 and you've got to defuse the bomb, the number one thing that's going to lure out your opponents is that defusing noise. You've got to think of the diffuser not just as a tool to deactivate the bomb, but as a tool to disclose the location of your opponents. So when I'm in a clutch situation, my goal is to get to the diffuser while clearing out predictable angles so I can start the defuse. You want to be careful, but the faster you fake the defuse, the more time you have on the end to clutch. Okay, most of us know this, but there are some people that don't. I've seen it. When you fake a defuse, you can't make any noise after you fake. So if you run or use your abilities, the opponents will know and they'll hear that and they'll know you're not defusing anymore, so they won't even peek out. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit more meta here, but we're gonna talk about clutching mentality. When clutching, I see a lot of people making bad decisions and they freeze up when they know their whole team is watching, especially when a lot is riding on a clutch. But one of the keys to clutching is to just have fun. I find that when I'm just enjoying the game and doing my best, I often clutch the most. So when you're clutching, don't think about this video, don't think about your crosshair, don't think about the mini-map, just have fun and make strong decisions and let your muscle memory do the rest. All right, are you ready for like the super philosophical part here? I used to go to film school, but I had to take a lot of painting classes just because the way the film school worked. But I was horrible at painting. I just did not get it. But my art teacher told me one thing that really helped. He said, art is just a series of decisions. And I think that when it comes to clutching, there is very much an art to it. So when you're clutching, just remember it's just a series of decisions. It's not complicated. You do one thing, which leads to the next thing. Just make sure that every decision you make, one by one, make them smart.
Sage is coming seaside and east side.
One enemy remaining.
Good job, Spin.
I'm going to show you a clip here where all my friend had to do to win us the match was do absolutely nothing. That was an easy decision he could make to just clutch up and win us the entire match. but instead he tried to go for a kill, which ended up losing us the entire match. Playtime, you got this, you got this. Counter her. No time. Again, the key to clutching is not just going for kills, but it's playing to win. So in all your decisions, don't just get greedy and go for kills, but really play to win a round. Let me show you this clip up here. Basically, what happened is I was in a 1v1 situation where I had to clutch up and defuse. Because time was against me, I had to make a decision to get half the defuse off before I could take care of the enemy. Even though I heard the Phoenix coming for me, I had to get half of that defuse off if I wanted to win the round.
Oh, shit, come on.
All right, let's talk about your foundations that you need to have if you want to clutch. So clutching means nothing if you don't have the basics and all the foundations down in Valorant. So I'm going to go through them one by one. If you want to be focused on your moment by moment decisions, you can't be thinking about these things that we're about to go over. So in order to do that, you have to practice these things every day so that you can be focused. As I list these critical fundamentals, a recommended video will pop up on the top right and you can click through to learn more about them. They'll also be in the description below. First of all, you need to master your aim. Obviously that's a given, but you need to have really good flicking and micro flicking if you want to clutch. So flicking isn't as critical in a 5v5 because you should only be focused on 1 or 2 angles at a time when you're in a 5v5 situation. But when you're in a 1v3, flicking is a lot more critical because you're gonna have to cover multiple angles that multiple enemies could come through. You need to master your crosshair placement. Good crosshair placement is gonna give you the advantage that you need to clutch. This last one seems like the most obvious, but you need to master the current map rotation. More importantly, you need to be able to visualize what your opponents are gonna do. So let's say you're alone at the B side on split. You need to be able to pre-visualize where your opponents are gonna come from based on the last set of callouts that you receive. Being able to do that is gonna give you the edge in that fight, so you'll be able to choose your engagements one by one and pick your fights as they come. Hey everyone, my name is Spin. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you wanna see more content like this, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. Peace and love, everybody.